This is Don't Panic, episode number 360, recorded April 10th, 2023. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the internet, and of course you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by two guys who, just like the Easter Bunny, lay colorful eggs? I'm not quite sure. It's Dan Miller and Colby Rabideau. Good evening, gentlemen.
I've never laid an egg before, but I like to think if I did start, it would be colorful.
Oh, that's a real stretch of the imagination there. Yeah, I Googled this actually right before the show. When I was a kid, I don't know if someone led me to believe this or my brain just, I thought the idea was that the eggs came from the rabbit, the Easter Bunny. And they don't. Sure. The Easter Bunny just has them.
I thought the same thing, but I never thought to Google it.
It just carries colored eggs as well as candy, sometimes toys to the homes of children, going back to the German Easter hare.
And where does the bunny come from, and why is it carrying eggs? Did you ascertain that in your research?
Yeah, my research, reading Wikipedia, the hare was a popular motif in medieval church arts. It's unsurprisingly a fertility symbol, and a symbol in Christianity associated with rebirth, hence the rebirth of the Jesus. And they all kind of got smashed together. The first mention of the Easter Bunny dates back to 1682 in Germany.
Cool.
This is tangentially related to Easter bunnies, but driving home, so we were in Rhode Island, visiting family for Easter or whatever, as you do. And we drove home today, and on the way home, I stopped at a gas station because we needed some fuel. So we pulled into the gas station, and I pull in. There was a lane. You know how they have two gas pumps next to each other. There was a completely open lane. So I was like, yeah. So I pulled in, and as I pull in, I realized that in the first stall of the gas station is a turkey.
Oh, getting gas?
A live turkey. And it just kind of looked at me and didn't move. So I just parked at the first entry in the gas station. The turkey just stood there on one leg the whole time, watched me pump my gas, and then I backed out and left, and it was still there, just hanging out. It was its gas station.
Nasty creatures, those turkeys.
They are nasty. I told you about the turkey that chased me around the Airbnb when we were visiting Washington, and they had given us a stick in next to the door to ward the turkey off as we exited the apartment.
Sure.
Let me guess. They charged you extra for the stick.
No, but it wasn't. It wasn't labeled.
You can have the turkey for free. We'll charge you for the stick.
We had no idea. We thought it was like a hiking stick or something, which was weird. But okay, maybe someone left it behind or something.
Complimentary turkey weaponry.
I can relate.
So, Colby, sounds like you have some turkey experience.
Well, this turkey experience. Have you heard the chicken story from my childhood?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know if this is appropriate for the podcast.
It's a foundational, it really is a foundational story to Colby's mythos.
Right. So all right. I guess we're getting into it. The my parents live in a woodsy place. Growing up, we had some poultry from time to time. There were chickens around. And when I was, I was second grade or something. I was a child, a small child. Mobile but small. We had a batch of chickens, and there was one rooster who decided he did not like me. 2 thumbs down, hated me. And this rooster would wait in the front yard in the afternoon for me to get off the school bus and chase me inside, pecking at my heels. And so I would leave, much like the people at your Airbnb, it seems, I would leave, like, we had this old hockey stick, and I would leave it by the like fence next to the driveway, so I could, like, defend myself to get inside. And one day I was outside, just outside, and the rooster was coming at me as he did, and I was like shooing him away with the hockey stick, and my mom was up on the porch, and she was like, hit him again, maybe he'll leave you alone. And I hit him again, and I hit him, like, like right in the neck, and broke his neck and killed him. And it did the chicken, like the dying chicken, like tumble salts, like going crazy.
Damn.
But, yeah, so that's the chicken story.
And he's done the same thing to every bully ever since.
That one bloody hockey stick.
It was not a bloody affair, but it was a little startling. It was not what I was expecting.
Now,
my mom felt really bad because she told me to do it.
Right.
Did she also make you take off all the feathers and cut it off and cook it for dinner?
Did this chicken go to waste?
I'm sure something ate it. It got, put in the woods, and
interesting,
for the wildlife.
Interesting.
But we didn't eat it. I don't know that you eat roosters per se. I'm sure you would if
you had to.
If you had to, yes.
So wait, that's interesting. The lady chickens are the only ones that get exploited, and they get it on every angle. Jeez.
I think that might be true.
All right.
I did not know that.
According to OutdoorHappens.com, can you eat a rooster? There's a whole page.
Okay.
Yes, and they taste great, according to this article. It literally says that.
Colby and I have eaten pigeons, so I assume you can eat a rooster.
Male roosters have meaty chicken breast, wings, and thighs like hens. Although roosters aren't reared that often for meat, many farmers still eat them, and they're perfectly safe to eat. We sometimes find the flavor of a rooster is richer and more intense than hen chicken meat. And sometimes it needs cooking slowly, as the substance can be tough or stringy.
I think so. So nowadays, my sister has a lot of chickens, and I think it's more that like you don't have a lot of roosters, like, because they're doing stuff like chasing kids around and like pecking at their heels, right? Like they can be
playing hockey badly.
Right. They can be jerks. So.
This article says it comes from the commercial egg industry. Commercial egg producers have no use for baby male chickens because they don't lay eggs. As a result, the male chickens often have a brutally short life. Some are discarded shortly after they hatch.
So sad.
So they lay eggs and then they kill them and eat them. The ladies.
Brutal. It's rough out there for a chicken.
This is this article goes on and on. It's very thorough. At what age can you eat a rooster? You can do it while they're only a few months old.
Wow.
There you go. Learn something today.
But yeah. So in any case, I'm familiar with the defensive stick. That's the point.
Excellent. Colby on patrol. I love it. Well, that's good. What else is going on, gentlemen?
Let's see. We talked about my I have a dishwasher that works again, and a garbage disposal. And I think the slightly interesting technology angle to all of this stuff is we replaced our I guess it's only 19 years old, our 19-year-old hot water heater with a new hot water heater, which did make the water be hot longer, which was interesting. But also is a heat pump water heater. So it has an air conditioner inside of it, or an inverse air conditioner, basically, which has worked great. It does make the basement cold, which we'll have to deal with if anyone ever lives in the basement. But though it might be nice in the summertime.
Sure.
But it works great, and it comes with it has a Ethernet port on the outside of it, and you plug this little box into it, and then you can control it from your phone, which I have not tried doing yet.
Oh, neato.
But it claims that in the last 4 days, I've saved 11 cents, I think it said, as compared to a fully electric hot water heater.
Nice.
93 cents. There we go.
Look at you.
Wow, racking it up.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Wow.
Yeah, at my last house, my hot water heater when I moved in was over 20 years old, but I had it for like 6 months, a year before I replaced it, and I kept burning myself because the water was so much hotter, and I didn't know how bad it was until I got the new one.
You can adjust that.
No, I just had to because I would have to crank everything all the way fucking up on the old one. And I had to like teach myself, if you turn it you can turn it to like a normal amount of hot. Because otherwise you'll scald yourself.
But you can adjust how hot the hot water heater heats your water.
Well, that's the problem. My old one was turned all the way up.
And was your new one also turned all the way up?
No, it was set to normal. But that's what I'm saying is my old one was so old and working so poorly that even cranked all the way up, it was putting out lukewarm water. But I thought that was hot water because it was the hottest it went. And then they gave me the new one, and even at a regular setting, I was like, holy shit, this was really hot.
Yeah.
I have problems when I go to other people's houses because like our water gets hot, but because we're on it's like a whole building shared water boiler system thing. So and like we're on one of the upper floors, so it takes a while for the water to get hot. So here, like, when I wash my hands, I just turn on the hot water, like just the hot water, fully hot water. And by the end of washing my hands, it's like a little bit warm. But I get in trouble when I go to other people's houses because I do that. It's like, oh my God, that hurts.
You'll be okay at this house. If you're on the first floor, you cannot do that. But I have no idea what's going on between the first floor and the second floor. If you're on the second floor, you can do that no problem, and you'll never burn yourself. I don't know if the pipe goes outside. I have no idea. It takes way longer too, like longer than it seems like it should. It's weird. Yeah, hung some photos. I hung all the photos actually. This is the Don't Panic Home Improvement Hour. Luckily, my uncle was here, which was good, because I have hung photos. I think now I know enough to say I have hung photos in drywall before, and they weren't heavy, any of them. So I just used the nail with the like hangy-dangy thing, which apparently does make it be able to bear more weight, which I never realized. But in the old part of the house, which kind of shockingly is actually only a quarter of the house, it's mind-boggling to think that anyone ever lived in that. It's basically 2 rooms and a bathroom in a standalone house, which is so weird. But anyways, in the front half of the downstairs, basically, that is, what did he say? I forget what it was.
Plaster?
Lath and plaster. Yeah. Which was an exciting thing to find out. So the stud finder doesn't work. And all of this was especially terrifying to me because I had just seen this, maybe other people saw it too, this viral Reddit post of someone who hired the Geek Squad to hang their TV. Did you see this one?
Oh, that's fantastic.
You're supposed to screw the TV mount into the studs, and so they used the stud finder. They screwed it into the studs, but it turns out it was the waistline for the upstairs bathroom, which they screwed a hole into and then started to leak wastewater down into their walls. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. It totally is. That will show up as a stud just like anything else.
Well, but I will say, Colby, you're probably gonna say the same thing I am.
Yeah.
Our magnetic stud finder pick wouldn't pick up a PVC pipe.
That's true. I only have the ultrasound one. Yeah.
It's too high tech, Dan.
Right.
But that's exciting.
So wait, I know you said this last week. But now I have like a really visceral experience using a stud finder. It finds the nails.
Yeah, you basically run along the wall, and at some point it'll just go tunk. You'll feel the magnet go tunk, and it'll catch something. And then you're on the vertical
Okay, interesting. But you have to run up and down a little bit too, because you might miss
you got to run it all over the wall until you find. And then again, it's their whatever 16 on center, so then you can kind of guess where the next one's going to be and then find it pretty easily. But you got to start somewhere.
Okay. I also read that to code is to have a metal plate. Well, actually, this FYI, if you ever move into another place, new houses will have a metal plate between pipes and the drywall. FYI. Not that
makes sense.
You might destroy your drill bits, but you probably won't destroy the pipe. But I'm sure my house does not have that. So it's a little scary. But as far as I know, that would have been, oh my God, can you imagine the plumbers show up on Thursday and I drill a hole through the waistline on Saturday?
They'd be thrilled. It's more work for them. We'll take the whole thing out. No problem. It's funny. I do get a good amount of home improvement stuff in my Instagram Reels sort of generic video feed. And one thing I've been getting a lot lately is home inspectors doing new builds, which is fantastic because these guys, a lot of them in like Texas and stuff, they'll go like, all right, I'm in this brand new, just built house. Let me show you. And the most ridiculous things that these guys find where it's like, they literally just built this house and this pipe isn't even connected to this other pipe, or, this door like only opens halfway, or, just all the most, and you're like, they just built it. It's pretty wild.
Did I give you my realization about why, Walmart and Costco and Home Depot, why those buildings look the way they do as compared to houses when it comes to like changing, like you were saying, or in that example, right? Oh, the door only opens halfway. If that's true, the cost of fixing that it sounds like a simple problem, but if that's true, the cost of fixing it could be pretty big. Is it only opening halfway because there's a drawer in the way? And at Costco, it's just a giant empty warehouse with all exposed wiring everywhere. And if you want to change anything about those buildings, you can change whatever you want. You could convert the Home Depot into a Michaels and it would be no problem. If you want to change anything about your house, it is like doing human surgery, which I'm also sadly familiar with now, where it's like, you don't do surgery unless the alternative is worse, because surgery literally damages the subject. It's in the name. So you'll do whatever you can to avoid it. And I've realized the same thing, like with the Ethernet cables. Like, yeah, you could put your Ethernet cables in the wall, but is the cost really worth it? Not just the monetary cost, but they'll probably break something else doing it, because it's like you're tearing a hole in the wall.
No, so, it's a can of worms. It's a huge can of worms. Although now you have me thinking, I loved your whole thing there, but what really got me was a Michaels the size of Home Depot, where they have to use like forklifts to like get yarn off of like giant racks.
Yes, they're like a hay bale sized yarn.
Yes, dude. I love that. Amazing. That would be fun.
That would be cool.
I haven't been to a Michaels in forever.
I don't know why that example popped into my head.
I gotta go do some arts and crafts.
Yeah. Well, I will say I do like I would like to get into some more arts and crafts again, because I had a lot of fun this weekend doing the mundane picture hanging tasks. It was a little terrifying at first, but once I became relatively confident I wasn't going to destroy anything, changing stuff with your hands is really satisfying. So I would like to incorporate that in my life more.
For a very short period of time, I want to do the same. And I'm embarrassed to say I kind of thought about it, but I was thinking about becoming a Lego guy.
Ooh, nice.
Which, I mean, my personal reputation is already in tatters, so I can't be any lamer than I currently am. But what I learned is that Lego is really goddamn expensive. And then you either buy the set for like $100, $200, because I'm not getting like the kiddie ones. You got to get the adult ones. And then what do I do with it when I'm done? Or they do have rental services that are like still exorbitantly expensive. And not really a savings, because you can't ship them back and forth fast enough, because they take time to build. It's not like a Netflix DVD you watch in a night and send back. Like, I couldn't get the economics to work. So unfortunately, that one fell apart.
Now, would you be interested in just building random shit with Legos? Just getting some
I
random
love
Legos?
following directions.
Yeah, that
Like,
is
one of-
fun.
You know what hobby I would like to have, but it's just not a hobby? I love building flat pack furniture. Like IKEA type furniture.
There's TaskRabbit.
Well, honestly, I don't want to go to someone else's house to do it, but I love following directions, and I love the step by step, and I like building it. That's why I'm like, Lego would be great for the sets. They even sell used sets, but those go for high prices. I mean, it's just a really rich time to be into Lego.
Nice.
Now, Sean, you could be more lame. You could get into LARPing. You could get into
You know what though?
bird
You know what?
watching.
I think all of that's.
Stamp collecting.
Stamp collecting.
I know a guy with a huge stamp collection. I think all of those are cooler than Lego. Here's why. Because at least those you get outside. Not stamp collecting. No. The LARPing and the bird watching. You do it with other people. There's actual effort being put into at least the creativity of it. Yeah, I'm gonna stamp collecting, but there's a history element to it. There's unique pieces. Lego is like I go to the store and I buy it, and I follow instructions for a child, and I build it, and then I have this thing I have to look at or put somewhere. Like, oh look, I've got the Titanic now. What am I gonna do with this?
Sure. I feel like that's the problem with puzzles too. I really like
Yes.
puzzles, but then you just have a puzzle that you already did.
You can give them to other people.
That's true. They are very hand me downable.
Yeah.
But I would challenge you back. I cannot. I'm sure it exists. I don't think I've ever seen a puzzle that looks good. Like I've never seen a puzzle where I'm like, I'm gonna hang that on my wall. Because usually it's like an insane pattern or like a Thomas Kincaid painting or something really buck wild.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me.
I wouldn't put a puzzle on my wall.
Funny story. I hung a puzzle directly across from me this weekend.
Shame.
I wish I could turn this whole monitor around and show you, but it's true. Or here, I can take a photo.
What's your puzzle of?
Here, I'll take a photo. I'll put it in the thing. I did not put together this puzzle. I could have never put together this puzzle. I would have lost my mind. This is I couldn't tell you how many pieces it is. It's quite large. It takes up this entire wall or most of it. It is black and white, except for one part. It is a bike on a railing, and behind it is water, and that water reflects the buildings around it. So it's like quadruple difficult. Let's see.
Sounds pretty hard.
Don't panic. There we go. Sent it in the Slack.
Oh, that's nice. What's that, Amsterdam or?
I think it's Amsterdam. Yeah.
Some similar. Oh yeah, look at that. Is a puzzle.
That is a puzzle.
That's very nice.
Maybe the problem, Sean, is that we're doing puzzles that are easy.
For children.
Which
I only
them,
listen.
Like not ideal for hanging out.
I'm a smart guy. I go all the way up to like a 16-piece puzzle.
Wait, isn't that just a slide tile puzzle?
Yeah, basically. Actually, I do love slide tile puzzles. I'm very good at slide tile puzzles. That was, I think, the first ever iPhone app I just burnt out was a slide puzzle app where you would just slide the pieces around. And no, this is great.
Very artful. Is it like glued on there? Like, how is it staying up?
I don't know, actually. I should ask.
Is it behind glass?
Yes.
Oh, so it's just matted at some point. Because they do have a spray glue I've seen that you use for puzzles, where you can like attach them to a mat.
I learned that this is a completely custom frame when I was measuring it. Actually, another thing I didn't have as much fun with this as the actual, hanging and drilling. The amount of math that goes into hanging pictures on the wall. It's like, okay, the circular one was fun. Thank God it wasn't oval shaped, but the circular one was was fun. But the other frames, it's like, okay, well, we want to be equidistant, but how big is the frame? And then, well, where does the wire hang on the back of the frame? And you got to measure that. So it was a whole thing. It was fun though.
I've always wanted, because they do make like smart measuring tapes, and I've always wondered why, with like digital readouts and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
but
okay.
I've never seen one where it could. I would like one to compute that for me, where it's like measure the whole length of the wall, measure the paint. Like you take the steps and it does the math, and you need it at exactly the nail at 47 inches and at 58 inches. You're like, okay, because I struggle with that.
Yeah.
But also, everything I've ever hung is crooked. So I just say the house is crooked, and nobody can really argue with that.
Our house is crooked, actually.
Yeah. So it's
so yeah. This painting, this photo is level, but if you look at the door next to it, it's not 100% aligned.
I'm looking at that thick crown molding, my man.
Oh yeah,
that is tall.
Yeah. As old is what it is.
Look, you got the
maybe
old...
not by Boston standards, but it's about as old as it gets in Seattle.
But remember, we didn't discover the West Coast until like 1937 or something.
Right, basically.
I love
and right, we didn't discover it until 1880, and then it all burned down in 1895 everywhere. Just everything combusted from Seattle to San Francisco and Los Angeles. Yeah.
I love the crystal knob doorknob.
Yes.
That's a great old house touch.
And there are spares in the basement that I found. So
wow. So are those actual antique?
I assume
you think
so.
All right. That's
great. I don't know if they're real. I don't think they're real crystal.
No, but are they old?
They're old.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, they're definitely old. They're old and they're wobbly and all of them are kind of a little loose.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The lock thing that all these doors lock. There's a door on there's like 2 doors in every room. And they all lock, supposedly. They all have locks. None of them do lock because they've been painted over so many times and they've never been locked. You can't lock any of them, which is fine, but funny.
Well, this will be perfect for when you eventually open the bed and breakfast in your house.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because especially there's a dining room, which is completely empty. And there's a kitchen which adjoins the dining room, and there's a door there that closes. And it's like, why on earth would you ever close this door? No one's ever... There's the other side of the dining room is open to the living room, so there's no privacy to be had in the dining room. And the kitchen is the number one place you'd want to go to from the dining room or vice versa. And my friend was like, oh, I would always want to do that so that you can keep the smoke out of the house. It's like,
what are you cooking?
I guess. No, I mean, that does happen, right? Like you cook steak or something, you take it out of the oven, all the smoke alarm's going to go off. Here, you're going to have your air purifiers for smoke season. They're all going to be running full blast for the next 2 hours. It's mildly annoying, but I think it's more annoying to have an entire corner of the dining room consumed by a constantly open door than that.
Yeah, but Dan, just think about it, right? When you have your big important work boss over for a big important work fancy dinner at your house, and your wife is in the kitchen slaving and cooking a dinner to impress your boss, you can close the door so nobody sees what's after your dinner party sees what's happening in the kitchen.
I see. I don't know what you're implying.
I'm implying it's the 1950s, Dan. That's basically what I'm
okay.
implying. I was giving you an old school...
I was going to say, if anyone's going to be having an important dinner with their boss, it'll probably be Lena.
Not me. Swap those gender roles. I love it. Very modern.
Yeah.
I feel like I get these Instagram videos sometimes of like kitchen stuff, and people there are these people build these kitchens where they have the kitchen and there's like a stove and a microwave and like an island and like a sink and all the stuff. And then like there's a door in the back of the kitchen that opens into a like quote unquote pantry that is a full other kitchen that has another stove and another sink and like a dishwasher and everything else. So I feel like it's that. Like you want to have your kitchen that people see, or you have your space that people see, which nowadays is a kitchen, and then you hide the...
It's a good explanation, yeah, but now everyone wants to see the kitchen. Right. I saw several houses, they were all I think all more expensive than this house, but not much more expensive. But they were considered more desirable, in part because the open floor plan. So apparently the most popular floor plan right now is you walk into the house, the first room, in air quotes, that you encounter is a living room. Beyond that, there is no door, and the entire back wall is kitchen. That's what people want. And these kitchen islands are like 15 feet long. They're like absurd. It's just, what on earth could you possibly? It's a waste of space in my mind. Like, that's a kitchen that you could cook for like a 15-person restaurant out of. Not, what? So, anyways, I didn't like those houses, which saved me a little bit of money, but everybody else does. And where's the pantry? I would rather have that and have one of those fancy pantries. That does sound nice. I want a room to throw all the shit that I don't know what to do with.
Well, I'll see if I can find it and send you. They just built a brand new house right around the corner from my house here, and they just put it on the market. So I saw the photos. I get that people want to buy neutral homes, like that's kind of the style now. But this, here it is. Let me. It's worth looking at the pictures of, because it is white on white on white.
Yes.
But like in a comic where it's like white countertops, white cabinets, white floor, white ceiling, white walls, white doors, white carpet.
The floors are white; they're not gray. Wow, that's actually kind of bucking the trend a little bit.
And then the bathroom, it's like a white tub and a white shower. Wow. And all the lighting fixtures are white. It's like, it's the most uninteresting house I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty staggering. That, like, I'm all for neutral, but this is like nausea. This is like should be in a museum. It's so unnatural.
Yeah.
But to each their own.
This is a new construction? Or
yes, from scratch.
Wow.
You can tell by the ultra cheap contractor grade lighting fixtures.
Off the shelf.
That's a suburb bathroom there, though. Whew. Got room for a bathtub and a giant walk-in shower. Come on.
Yeah, and by the way, was built next to houses that aren't even worth half that. So I don't know what they were thinking. But they got a lot more money than I do. So what do I know?
No.
It's hard to keep track. Like, I'm clicking through the photos, and it is truly hard to keep track of like
where you are.
Did I see this bedroom? Is it just from a different angle?
Which, by the way, room? Those carpets are way too light to be in. I'm sorry, they're gonna get wrecked. You cannot put off-white carpets all over your house. That's nuts.
That's bold.
That's crazy. Actually, my flooring people are coming, I think, in 2 weeks to do my basement. So.
Oh wow. I just got to the bathroom, Dan. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Like as big as my apartment.
Yeah, and look at all that wasted space next to the sinks in that bathroom.
And then the toilet just kind of sits there really awkwardly on its own.
Wow, I didn't notice that.
There's a bunch of new builds.
That's actually a terrible layout.
No, listen, there's a bunch. Actually, that's part of 3 houses they did right next to each other, and there's another development near my office. And whoever's building them, they're insane because they're all like this, where they're really cheap. The layouts make no sense, and they're selling for absurd prices. So
the marble floors just look so slippery to me. Maybe they're not. I feel like I would fall and die.
I bet you they're not real.
They could still be slippery though.
Oh, that's true. Even more so.
Right.
Even more so. Well, guys, is now as good a time as any to pivot over to tech news.
Yeah.
Should there be any we wish to discuss? Guys, it's quiet as hell. I'm going to be honest with you. There's just not much going on in the technology world. And so I am open to one of the stories here, or if there's a different story that comes to mind, I can tell you more about the history of the Easter Bunny, but otherwise we can talk about one of these here.
I'm excited about the frequently returned items on Amazon.
This is fascinating to me. I don't know if it's a good thing, but Amazon has begun displaying a warning about frequently returned items. The retailer's new badge reads, quote, "Frequently returned item. Check the product details and custom reviews to learn more about this item." end quote. However, it doesn't appear visible to everybody. I'm not sure if it's a gradual rollout or a limited test. In addition, the tagged products all appear to be from third-party vendors fulfilled by Amazon. So it's not an official rollout. It's just been seen all over the site. No word from Amazon in particular.
Interesting. Now, do you think this is like all reviews on Amazon are fake counterplay sort of thing?
Maybe, but I'm also thinking like I've returned things to Amazon. I'm sure you guys have at some point or another. What percentage of my returns are products I would not recommend somebody buy, or conversely was returned for a different item other than product quality or they shouldn't buy it? And I think the majority of them, it wasn't an issue, it didn't fit, or I didn't end up needing it, or I don't think I ever really return anything because it like sucks or is bad or broken.
I think that the number one reason that I return things is that it's broken. That's happened several times. Or is it just missing a part? That's happened twice. And those, by the way, have confused me because it's like, this is definitely not a new... I bought a surround sound system from Amazon in 2020. It was just missing all the cords. It was just missing them. It's like, how are you saying this is a new thing? I bought one of those... everyone here has these. No one, I guess, I lived the rest of my time in New York City, but these trapezoidal foam things that go over your outdoor faucets so they don't freeze. I bought one of those and it was missing the thing that hooks it onto the faucet. Which is just like a plastic bit. It could have just fallen off, but like this is in a sealed bag, so I don't know. Sometimes I return, and I think the next thing is I buy something, thinking that I'm going to need it, and then I return it because it turns out I didn't. Like I got Lena a knee scooter after she broke her leg, and it turns out she not allowed to use it because it's on her front part of her leg where the brake was, so she can't put pressure on that. Yeah, those are the reasons I return. We were actually looking into the Amazon. What is their name for like? Amazon has like the refurbished. It'll tell you if something's used, but there's like the Amazon like certified refurbished program. And did you know that those also have the full return policy? So there's like literally no reason not to buy. If you see something that is certified refurbished on Amazon, there's no reason not to buy it because you can always return it. Fun fact. Learned that last night.
Yeah, like I'm just scanning through my orders trying to remember what I've returned. I returned some dog toys the dog just didn't play with. But there's nothing wrong with them. The dog just, I'm sure somebody's dog likes them. Or like I ordered something in 2 sizes knowing I'd return one. But I'm just thinking if it's fair to put a label. Do you think in practice that label would properly indicate there's an issue with this product?
I think that for some things, if it really rose to the level that people are frequently returning it, it would be kind of obvious if it was a thing that someone might buy and then return if they didn't need it, versus something that is deceptive. I bet a lot of the times it's not that like one time I returned something. I have my TV on a media console, and I don't, especially after reading that Reddit post, I don't want to mount it on the wall. But there's a sound bar that goes underneath it, and it slightly obscures, just a little bit obscures the picture. And I wanted to raise it up. And I went on Amazon. I was like, a TV riser, and someone makes one, and I bought it. It was just like pretty shitty. It like I could see how they took photos for the product such that they looked like they did, but it doesn't really look like that at all. So I returned it. Something like that, I bet you could look at, like, because it's a simple thing, right? It's a TV stand. And if someone said people return this frequently, that would have been great information for me, because I would have been like, oh, or like sometimes I've noticed buying furniture on Amazon, you can get some really shitty pieces of furniture on Amazon. And it's look great in the photos, but it's like just all whatever the fake wood is, and everything comes out of the box bent.
Sure.
I would love to, but there are also some that are good. So I would love to have it for things like that.
They also like don't when you return things, they like ask you why you're returning it, right?
Yes.
Like I remember, I don't know. I feel like the last time I returned something, it was just like a little too big for what we like had imagined. So it was, it wasn't bad. I'm sure it did the thing it was supposed to do. We just didn't have room for it. But in any case, I answered the question accordingly.
Yeah, they should definitely publish, because I just happened to like fake return something that I had bought, and it says, "Why are you returning this? Wrong item was sent. Product and shipping box damaged. Better price available. Missing or broken parts. Inaccurate description. No longer needed. Bought by mistake." Yeah, they should publish a chart. That's like how many people voted for each. I think that would be more helpful.
I guess I think what I was getting at is like, I have to imagine, depending on what the intent of this like thing is, perhaps it is not a just, net how many people return this thing, but like people return this thing because, how many people return this thing because it like didn't do the thing that they wanted, or like seemed misleading or something like that, right?
It's an interesting one. I always said to myself, gosh, I wish there was more junk on the Amazon product pages.
Sure.
I wish they were more difficult to read.
Right. They're not dense enough.
Have you tried to add an item to a wish list on Amazon recently?
It's pretty damn hidden. I know that.
Yeah.
It's almost like they don't want you to do it.
It really is.
Oh, there it is.
It's a blue link, right? Or is that only on mobile? I think on mobile it might be especially shitty. It's like a little blue link, like the size of all the other text, it doesn't have a border around it or anything. You have to really, and there's a bunch of other blue links on the page. You have to really keep your wits about you.
I always forget that you can like look at, like there's the other sellers thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can pick where you're ordering it from.
Yeah. They did, although they did just recommend to me Bob Odenkirk's new book, so maybe I'll buy that. They know me. Anyhow, that's the latest with Amazon. Is there another story in here you guys wish to discuss?
Let's see. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it is pretty
Yeah, it's late.
Now the
We can't move
PlayStation
on to
Vita, that
picks.
doesn't exist anymore, right? Oh, new
No,
PlayStation
but
handheld.
Could it be coming back? Question mark. A new report claims Sony is developing a new PlayStation gaming handheld. The tentatively titled Q Lite handheld, that's just the code name, is designed primarily to work with the remote play feature on PS5 and stream games from the console over the internet. While it specifically notes the handheld is not meant for cloud streaming, so it would primarily be a peripheral for PS4 and PS5 owners. It'll come with an 8-inch LCD touchscreen designed for 60 frame per second gaming at 1080p and adaptive triggers similar to those on the PS5's DualSense controllers. Sometime between 2023 and 2024.
So this would have to be a handheld console that you can only use in your house because most people don't have fiber. So the remote play on a cable connection would be terrible.
It's very Wii U in that respect.
I mean, I see the benefit. Sometimes someone's watching the TV and I want to play a PlayStation game and you just can't. So, but I don't know. That's like I would pay at most $200 for something like that, and I suspect this would be more.
I was just reading about the remote play thing.
It works pretty well.
I was wondering to myself if it would work out of the house, meaning
can,
right?
But
technically,
yeah, not on Comcast, Sob.
That's the life I lead.
I think it could. Well, maybe on an 8-inch screen it would be okay, right? Because you don't need. Maybe it's only 720p, and maybe then it would be okay. I have to say I haven't really tried. So, but I know that it is possible because I looked into it once. I think actually I did play. I did use Remote Play once to play Stardew Valley at my mom's house, but that is not a graphically intense game at all, and that worked just fine. But I was on a cable connection in both places.
Double cable.
Yeah, I don't know if, I mean, obviously it's got to be a price play, right? Where you can buy a Steam Deck for $400 or you buy this thing for $150, but you really only stream it in the home. Yeah. I think that makes sense for a family or a larger home. You've got the one PlayStation on the one TV, then you also got this thing floating around. It's an accessory more so than a standalone. I just wonder if they're going to float this in the market and then eventually do a full-fledged standalone portable PlayStation.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though, that other companies have tried to make handheld video game consoles, and only one is still making them, which is interesting.
It's true, although the Steam Deck seems successful.
It seems successful, yeah, but would Microsoft or Sony consider whatever that volume is to be successful? I don't know. I don't think
that's true.
I don't think,
but it's also
Valve
not
is
being sold by a mainstream company either.
Right.
I mean, Steam is for video game players, but not necessarily in the mainstream. I just think, what's interesting about this new PlayStation, they're specifically saying they won't do server-based remote play, which they have the technology to do. They're just not doing it.
Right.
And that's, Xbox obviously huge with their cloud gaming setup. And I wonder if that's their entry in is the remote play aspects, which obviously Steam doesn't do in the same way.
Right.
Very interesting. Regardless, I will not be buying it because I don't have a PlayStation, nor do I play video games. Although speaking of video games, hey, maybe I got one in our picks this week. Let's mosey on over to picks, the part of the show where we just bring something we want to share, and then we talk about it. I want to talk about Dan's pick because this looks very interesting.
Yeah, I picked a YouTube channel called Technology Connections. Full disclosure, it's a little corny, but it is very informative. So I think they have two sort of brands of videos. They have the how does X work video, which is how I got into it because speaking of the heat pump water heater, I wanted to know how heat pumps work because I didn't really understand it. And it is very simple. You just need to understand a few laws of physics that I had forgotten. The TLDR is hot things want to move to where the cold is, and cold things want to move to where the hot is. So if you can make something colder or hotter than the surrounding air, then you can move energy around. And that's how heat pumps and air conditioners work. But how do you make something cold if it's really hot out? Refrigerants, and there's a whole section on that. But anyways, that's how I got into this video. I was like, oh, they have a recommended video on fans. Why do fans, when you turn it onto the first thing, start at the highest speed? And there's a whole video on, there's a very good reason about why that is. How do rice cookers work? And the next one I want to watch is his 3-part series on dishwasher detergent, where he put out a video and then he put out an hour and a half long retraction video of the first video. So that's what I'm excited to watch next. Technology Connections.
Yeah, this is very cool. He seems like he answers a lot of questions I have about things. So that's awesome. Check it out. We'll have the link on the website, of course, for that. My pick this week, guys, I am not a gamer. I'm not even a phone gamer. I basically never play them. But this game was recommended to me. Marvel Snap. You guys are very familiar with the build a deck, fight your deck style games. I even did Hearthstone for a little while, and it kind of got a little ahead of me. But I figured I would try Marvel Snap. It's free to play. And I'm actually having a lot of fun playing it. What I like about it a little more than the Hearthstone is the mechanics are a little simpler, which is great. They do a good job. I've been playing it for a while, haven't had to put any money in. They're pretty good about pacing yourself. And they don't ramp. What I felt with Hearthstone is they ramp me up too quickly. Like, I'd only been playing for a little bit and they were throwing some hard stuff at me. And on this one, they really, they don't push you too heavy, too fast. And I get to play with all my friends from the Marvel Universe. So just a fun passing the time board. I kid you not, literally, this is a true story. Literally, I was sitting at home yesterday. I had 2 televisions running, one with the hockey game, one with the basketball game. I had a podcast in my ears, and I was playing Marvel Snap, and my brain nearly exploded. So it was, I had to pause for a second. Like, what am I doing? I would like look up at one and the other and go back. I'm listening. I was like, no joke, I had a headache. I'm like, I have to stop. But it's a good game to pass the time. So Marvel Snap available on the mobile platforms. And Colby.
Oh yeah. So I recently changed RSS readers because I don't know. I heard some people on a podcast talking about NetNewsWire, which is apparently it was an RSS reader from a long time. It's been around for a long time, but recently had like a big redesign or something. So I've only used it in recent times. I used to use Reader, and I figured I would just try this one. And to be honest, it does almost exactly the same things as Reader, but the shortcut support is better. So like Reader has terrible iOS shortcuts, and I always wanted to be able to just or iOS like the shortcuts app support, and I always wanted to be able to do a shortcut where you could squirt the website over to your RSS thing and have it just like subscribe to it. Wow. And Reader just never did that, and NetNewsWire that works. So I've been using that. It's great.
Nice. I think NetNewsWire was the first ever iOS RSS reader I ever used. Way back when apps I guarantee you it's one of the first 5 apps I ever downloaded on iOS if you looked. And so I'm glad to see it's still around. I've gone through many since then. It looks free. A lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's free. There's a Mac version. It says, I don't know, their website says it's open source. No, is that true? Yeah, it says free and open source RSS reader. There's a lot of S's in the description. It works pretty good. There's a Mac one. It's an RSS reader, you know.
I'm very happy to say that I use both of your picks. I have played Marvel Snap extensively over Christmas, but not really that much since. And I use NetNewsWire every day.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Stan's world, we just live in it. Well, Dan, we got a battle on the Snap.
Yeah, I've never battled. I guess I had right. I've played randos. I imagine your deck is better than mine, but I'm happy to do it, Sean.
No, I haven't done it that long. My username is Shennings. You can find me Shennings on the Snap. If anyone out there
how to do that.
Yeah, not really built for it, but good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Great. Well, good picks all around, guys. We got some winners. Before we begin to head towards the wrap up here, guys, I have good news. Maybe more specifically for Colby. Colby, we listened. At Up for Debate, we don't just talk, we listen. And we heard your feedback that March Madness was boring as shit. Well, we're doing something. We didn't just listen. We're doing something about it. That's why April is March Madness : Sean's Revenge : It's April. Where I have taken over the concept, and I've told Matt that he can no longer pick the games. It's my turn, and you will be happy to know that in our first episode of April, we are playing the classic dating simulator game, Hatoful Boyfriend, which is the game where you're the only human and you date all birds. And it's buck wild. And it was actually, we do voices And we basically read off all the character dialogues. There's not a lot of interactivity, but I do recommend the YouTube version because we do share the screen and you do see all the sexy pigeons and other birds we date. And they're just pictures of regular birds. It's very strange. Plus, Matt and I do all the voices. It was actually a ton of fun. So up on the feed right now, the first episode of April. And coming up, I've also gotten Dream Daddy, obviously the sexy dad dating game. And I also learned that if you set it up right, you can do a text-based adventure in ChatGPT. It will write one, and you can do follow-ups. So at some point later in the month, we're going to do a ChatGPT adventure. So we heard you. More to come.
Amazing.
Up for debate.tv. It's a good one. But that's it. I think that's it, unless you guys have anything else this evening. Of course, people should visit our website, don'tpanic.io. All the links to the pics are there, as well as the audio and video of the episode. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. It's that big red Don't Panic button. And of course, get in touch with us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. Email us don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. I think we got to wrap it up here. We got to get some sleep, except for Dan, who's got to have dinner. But on behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here. We're going to see you next time for another great episode of Don't Panic.